Alright, in this video tutorial, we are going to discuss about quadratic equation. So the general form of quadratic equation is ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0, where the value of a, b and c all belongs to real number and a is never going to be 0. So there are wide range of application of quadratic equation that we are going to discuss in this video tutorial. And in other terms, the quadratic equation could also be defined like second order polynomial equation. So that means there are going to be two root values of this two root values of the solution of this quadratic equation. So when we talk about the application part of quadratic equation, so let us try to understand this by this simple example. When a ball is shot from the ground into the sky, so it will definitely take a parabolic path, and if we just represent this y-axis as height of the ball, and at a particular time, let us suppose a ball is somewhere here at a particular point of time, and when we represent this x-axis as t, so the exact position and the height of that ball could be expressed in terms of quadratic equation. So that's the beauty of quadratic equation. Let us try to understand this concept more deeply using this question. Okay, so the question is something like this. A ball is launched into the air with an initial velocity of 50 feet per second from an initial height of 10 feet. Okay, so there is a equation like that we already know in physics, ut plus half at square. This is more of a 11th grade concept, so it might be difficult for grade 9 or 10 students to understand in terms of this. But let me show you, like in order to express the position and height of this ball in the sky, so it is something like this: y is equal to 16 t square, and we have 50 feet per second, so it's going to be 50 feet 50 t, sorry, let me delete this part, t plus 10. So in this relation, you can see that 10 is a constant value, and this is from the question. And where does this negative 16 t square part comes from? So just try to understand this part. When we throw a ball into the sky, there are a number of parameters come into play. That Gravity is one of them. Obviously, there are other parameters like frictional force due to air, and there are so many things. So in order to exactly define the position height in a particular set of time for this ball, that will be way more difficult than as we think. So let us forget about those parts. So we'll only define this ball's position in terms of gravity. Okay, so as we know that a is generally acceleration, and when we are throwing a ball into the sky, then this a is generally g, acceleration due to gravity. Acceleration due to gravity. And the value of this g is 9.8 meter per second square. When we express this g value, acceleration due to gravity, in terms of feet per second square, it is going to be 32 feet per second square. And when we take this part of at square, which is pretty much equal to half gt square in case of this flying ball, so it will be something like this: 32 over 2 and t square. So it's going to be 16 t square. And the negative sign is obviously because of the gravity, because it is going upward direction against the gravity. Okay, so this type of problems are generally represented by quadratic equation, and there are many more application part of quadratic equation, just like in finance mathematics. In order to calculate the interest rate, quadratic equations are used. Computer graphics, let me note down some of the parts, like what are the application of quadratic equations. Like this is physics. The problem we just discussed over here, that is something related to physics. Obviously engineering is one of them. Geometry, finance and commerce, obviously, and computer graphics, and many more application of quadratic equation. Okay, so in and there are number of ways or methods that are used to solve this quadratic equation. And so in upcoming videos we are going to discuss those methods, how to use them in order to solve any given set of problem belongs to quadratic equation. And so let's just discuss about briefly what are those methods. Mainly there are four methods. One is your factoring method. Second one is graphical method. Third one is your completing the square method. One, and the most used one is formula method. You already familiar with, like we'll get two root values using that formula, and that is way more convenient than other methods of solving quadratic equations. So that we are going to discuss in the next video. And completing the square method, that we will discuss obviously. And formula and the derivation part of formula will also discuss in the next video. That is all for this video. Thank you.